kitchen. Today on the show we are going to be making butternut squash soup. To see all the ingredients listed, you can see them listed below, and we have our oven on at 400 degrees. So let's get started. Alright, so these are some of the ingredients here. We're going to have olive oil, maple syrup, chicken broth, minced garlic, some brown sugar, 35% whipping cream, an onion, some thyme sprigs, and of course your butternut squash. And so let's get started. So basically, butternut squash is really good for you. It's full of minerals and vitamins like vitamin A, C, magnesium, potassium, lots of great stuff about it. So I love making this soup. I find it really easy, so I'm going to show you guys. I already chopped up some here for you guys to see. You can see that. They're kind of chopped up. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So basically it was taking two of these butternut squash. I like to make a full big pot, so we got my pot in the back there. You can see that. So we're going to roast our butternut squash first, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to cook them. So I'm just going to show you how to do this. So basically just have a really sharp knife, and we're just going to take it from the side, okay? And we're just going to go right down, and just be very careful with this, okay? So all the way down. I'm sure there's probably a way better way of doing this, but this is the way I've come up with. Let me know if you have another way of cutting up butternut squash. Let me know. Otherwise, this is what I've been doing. So go around and then right through the middle. Okay, it's going, it's almost there. Be very careful you don't cut yourself. Okay, almost there. And you should be able to remove the whole thing now. Let's take a look. There we go, I did it. So this is the inside of the butternut squash, and we are going to now take a spoon, and you're just going to actually carve out all the seeds. Let's have my garbage here. So I'm just going to carve all that out because we're not going to eat that part. I think some people like to keep the seeds and roast them. I'm sure there's some really good reasons for the seeds. So I'm just going to get that out. It's coming out, it's coming out. Alright. Awesome. Okay, great. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your peeler, and we're just going to peel the skin off. So I'm just going to peel it right off. So if you have another better way of doing this as well, this is what I've come up with. So we're just going to peel the whole thing. Okay, so why don't you guys go ahead and do that. Alright, so we peeled it, so now I'm going to show you to cut it. So I just put it lengthwise here, and I'm just taking my knife, and I'm just simply going to cut it in rows here. Call them rows. So this is my way of coming up with dividing it and figuring out how to chop it up. But you can chop it up any way you'd like. Okay, and then I'll just go like this, and just honestly cut it into pieces. So you guys can go ahead and chop away. That's it. Alright, so we have all of our butternut squash chopped up, and we put them into 2 pans, baking sheets. I put these silicone mats on here. Super awesome for easy cleanup. So if you want to use those, that's awesome. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to get them ready for roasting. So what we have is our olive oil, and we have our brown sugar. And what we're going to do is we're going to take about, let's say, 1 tablespoon. Okay. And we're just going to lightly drizzle and drizzle like that. Okay. And that's good. Put that in the sink. Awesome. Okay, so that's our olive oil. And then I like to take some brown sugar, just so it tastes a little bit more sweeter. And we're going to take about half a cup. Okay, you can do less if you want, depending on how much. That might be a lot, but let's see. So I'm actually just going to sprinkle. I'm going to take my green off. Okay, I'm going to just take a little bit. I'm just going to sprinkle it on. There we go. So sprinkle. Okay, so let's do a quarter. Let's not do half a cup, because that's a lot of brown sugar. So let's say a quarter cup of brown sugar, so we don't overdo it, because then it's really sweet. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use our hands or a spoon or whatever you want to do, and just going to mix it up so that every piece gets some olive oil and some brown sugar. And there we go. Mixing. Yay, it's ready. That's how easy that was. It was just chopping it up, putting it with some olive oil, some brown sugar, and now we're going to put it in the oven, and we're going to put it at 400 degrees for 40 minutes. Okay, and I'll see you back after that. Alright, so our squash, butternut squash, has been roasted. It's done, it's good. I got my 2 trays. It's been 40 minutes, so hope you took yours out. And so now we're moving to the stove top here, and we have our stove on at medium heat, and I've put in about 3 tablespoons of butter, and it's in there and it's melting right now. And what I've done is also I've chopped up about a cup of onion, so get that ready. And so what we're going to do is we're actually just going to put it in. So here we go. So the butter is melted, and put the onion in. Onion is very good for you. And also I like to put a little bit of garlic, because garlic is good for you too. So I'm just going to put about 1 clove. If you want to put more, it's up to you. I'm going to put 1 clove in of minced garlic. And what we're going to do is we're just going to mix it around a little bit, and we want the onion to soften. Not to burn, but we just want it to soften up a bit. So I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit, and it's going to get bubbling, going, and I'll show you guys that. Alright, so you can see there the onion is softening, it's cooking, looking delicious. There's our butternut squash, yay! Alright, it's time to stir it up. Alright, so now it's been about 3 to 4 minutes that the onion has been cooking in the butter. Smells divine. So I checked it out, they're pretty soft. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to measure out our butternut squash. So we're going to take a 1 cup measuring, and we're going to measure about 7 cups of butternut squash. So I'm just going to put that in there. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, this one, that's 6, and 7. Okay, so you may have noticed that you have leftover butternut squash, and I do that on purpose because I like to have it with other stuff during the week, so it's still really awesome to eat. So put that in your Tupperware and into your fridge, and you can eat and munch on extra leftover butternut squash. So what we're going to do now is stir that up a little bit. Alright. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add in our chicken broth, and we're going to put in 4 cups, which technically takes up the whole container of this. So let's measure that out. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is the whole container. Not container, I guess it's a carton. So use the whole carton. Which is awesome. And our thyme sprigs. So I use about 2. If you want to do a little bit more, you're welcome to. And we're just going to honestly just put it in there for flavoring. And we're going to turn up the heat, and we're going to bring it to a light boil, just to get it boiling a little bit. And then we're going to turn it down, reduce the heat, and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. So let's do 20 minutes. And what this is doing is it's going to have the butternut squash soak in all the juices, and it's going to create that flavor. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what we do. So this is the 20-minute process of blending of flavors. All right, great news. It's been 20 minutes, and so our simmering of our butternut squash is done. And so we're ready to move on to the last steps to make our soup. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove our thyme sprigs. So just carefully remove that without burning yourself. So there's one. You can discard of that. And two. Okay, we're done with that. They did their job. So yeah, so that's ready. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to blend it. Now, if you don't have one of these are a hand blender. You can use a masher. You can use another type of hand blender. You just need to be careful because it's hot, so you don't want it to splash out at you, so you gotta be careful. But if you don't have any of these, that's okay. You can mash it other ways. We're not gonna mash the whole entire thing to puree it too much, because for me, I like to leave it with little bits of chunks a little bit, because that's how I like it. If you want it completely pureed, go for it. So we're gonna use this, and Myra, thank you Myra for this. I am using this, she gave me this. Okay, so we're gonna put it in, and we're gonna make sure your temperature is down, right? And we're just gonna go right down, don't pull it up. Make sure it's all the way down at the bottom so it doesn't splash out at you, okay? And when you're doing this, it's just pureeing it. Now it's becoming a soup, and it smells delicious. So we're blending and we're blending. And once we're satisfied with the amount of blending, we're getting there, we're gonna add in our whipping cream and our syrup and some salt and pepper. Okay, I think just about got it. Let me check it out here. Just a little bit more. And I like the blender, it's fun. Okay. Alright, so it is blended. Let me just show you. Just carefully take it off the stove. I'm just going to show you. You can see that. Okay, so awesome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do get your 1/3 cup measuring and your whipping cream, and we're going to put in 2/3. 1 and 2. Okay? And make sure, and we're going to do 1/3 of maple syrup. Maple syrup is amazing. I like going to the maple syrup farm and with my kids. We go to the festival and we get fresh maple syrup from the trees because it's so much fun and it tastes delicious. Okay, it's in there. So grab your spoon and mix away. So we're just going to blend it in. And oh, you want to add a little bit of salt and just sprinkle it in a little bit. I don't like to cook with a lot of salt, but if you want it a little bit more saltier, that's your choice. And a little bit of pepper. It's for taste, so it's really up to your taste buds and how you want it to taste. So I just put a little bit in, and we're just going to stir it. Just make sure your stovetop is at low. Just keep it at low so it doesn't splash out at you. And we're just going to let that mix in just a little bit so that the cream can blend in. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys. Let me show you the soup. Alright, there's our soup. That's our butternut squash soup. Already done, steaming hot, looks delicious. Alright, our soup is done and we're ready to taste. Alright, so we took it off the stovetop. It's settled in, it's now ready to eat. So let's taste this. That is perfect. Just the right amount of sweetness, not too much. Taste that squash in there, it tastes amazing, guys. So I hope you enjoyed being in my kitchen today, learning how to make butternut squash soup. It's so good for you. It's good all year round. I guess you can have it as you have in the fall and the winter time. It's really good. So I really hope you enjoyed making it. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more episodes. Ring the bell for notifications of when I post more. Yeah, I'd love to see you back in my kitchen with me and love to hear from you guys. And yeah, so thanks guys for watching. All right, bye.